What's good, y'all? You dub back here again here in 2019. Let's get it. Well, for what's left of it. This video here. Jedi are not space wizards. You can include Sith in that as well. Now, I remember I've seen this come up probably over the last year. And I see, at first I considered it as a joke, I'm like, yeah, cool. I get where people. But there are some people who legitimately believe this. And I'm talking about Star Wars fans. They legitimately believe that the Jedi are space wizards. Nani? ¿Qué? How? What? ¿Cómo? What? 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 Where's Stone Cold Steve Austin when you need him? I find myself a lot of times on this channel debunking things. All right. The older I get, the more debunking I need to do. These misconceptions. For those of you who don't know magic, and I've done videos on magic, and I still need to get back to doing some more videos on magic. In case you're not into magic, at least know fantasy. See, here's a lot of sci-fi nerds. And I don't use nerds in a derogatory like a lot of people do, but a lot of dudes who are into sci-fi are on the nerdy side. But they also aren't really into fantasy. But then again, some of them are into fantasy and are still saying this mess, and it's like, y'all know Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. How can you possibly say that the Jedi are space wizards? Space wizards. I'm going to give y'all 10 reasons why that is categorically wrong. For one, the Force is not magic. It isn't. The Force is based on actual living symbiotic flow kind of thing. Okay? Again, we're not here for discussing what all the Force is and its concept and in its biology and anatomy, whatever. But the thing is, midichlorians. That's not how magic works. I don't care what version of magic you do. Magic is never explained like this. In fact, a lot of forms of magic, if you go by like Dr. Stephen Strange comics, you go by various forms, science and magic are antithetical. They're the antithesis of each other. They don't work. In fact, in a recent Doctor Strange run, Galactus, who is a science-based being in his form in the universe, went to the magical realms, the magical dimensions, and wrecked shop and damn near destroyed everything because he began absorbing magic-based energy, which wasn't his staple diet. So that's just one. The Force is not based on magic. Two, mages. Mages, unless they are certain entities like an Agamotto from Marvel Comics, okay, like a Lucifer Morningstar, all right. Unless you're a higher being from Vertigo and DC Comics, okay, you have to use items. John Constantine, Hellblazer, right, or use spells. Doctor Strange uses both. You have Brother Voodoo, Jericho Drum, okay, uses it. You have hex magic or chaos magic, and then her abilities went Scarlet Witch. You have people like Zatanna and Zatara. You have Dr. Fate. I can go on and on, those various magical entities. Or you can be blessed with Juggernaut abilities with Cain Marco. He's blessed by Sidorak, okay? You could be bestowed with powers like Swamp Thing, right? Power flows through. You either have to use an object, a staff, or a wand in the case of Harry Potter and such, right? To be able to channel the power through. Or if you're like a Gandalf, where you're a lesser god, if you will, and you're able to utilize your abilities of the Maya. Okay? When it comes to the Jedi, if they're cut off for the Force, what they got? Can they do produce electricity, fire, pyrokinesis, electrokinesis? Can they do that? Can they just by themselves manipulate the atmospheric pressures? Can they do that? Can they just cause storms like they were? Even though she's not a mage, like the visual of a storm, right? Can they do that? No, 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 no. They can't do that, can they? Another thing, the third, do they have abilities of foresight, right? Clairvoyance, prophecy, um, being an oracle, looking to a crystal ball. They have some precognition. They look into the force to try to find, but that doesn't make them a mage. Show me one. I mean, if they were mages, you wouldn't have had the chosen one prophecy. They get images from the force ish. But come on, bro. No. A fourth point. There are actual wizards and mages. Like dude I was talking to that this conversation, really spiked from. He mentioned the Bene Gesserit. And that for those who don't know who are not a fan of Dune like I am, check out the Dune series by Frank Herbert, by the way. You have actual mages in witches, wizards, warlocks, sorcerers, sorceresses, and sci-fi too. Most sci-fi, not genres, most sci-fi franchises have them. Again, Bene Gesserit, witches. That's what they call. In the Dune series. Even in Star Wars, you have the Night Sisters who are utilize dark side sorcery. Former Sith alchemists, they use dark side sorcery. You actually have mages in the Star Wars universe, in the Star Wars galaxy. So I don't really need to go further on this debunk, but in lore, in canon itself, debunks this very nature. 5. The Jedi don't act like mages. They don't have the lifestyle of mages. They don't follow the tenets of magic. None of that. They follow the Jedi code, which goes nothing like any wizard, sorcerer, mage that you'll ever see. I don't care if you're playing RPGs. I don't care which fantasy world you're in. I don't care if you're in DC Marvel. I don't care if you're in any sci-fi cult, religion, organization, hermit, whatever the case may be. They don't act. They don't have the belief of a mage. None at all. 6. Show me one mage that would be dedicated to the Republic like the Jedi were. I'll wait. Show me one. Yes, you can have your Merlin situation in your Arthurian legends, King Arthur and such. Yes, you can have your Gandalfs and your Saruman, the councils. Yes, you can have that. But mages are pretty rebellious. Cross board. The Bene Gesserit were their own order outside of the Empire in the Dune series. The Night Sisters are doing their own thing outside of the Republic. Doctor Strange does his own thing. The list goes on and on. In fact, mages a lot of times aren't even cool with their own organizations. Even in Harry Potter, they don't have dealings with regular humans. You see what I'm saying? Let's see, where we go on. Number 7. Where we at? The mages, it's not that mages can't fight, but mages aren't focused on combat. Now, you can but the Jedi are peacekeepers. The Jedi are warriors. The Jedi are trained warriors. What am I supposed to do with that? Show me one mage in history. Not that they can't fight. Not that they can't wield a blade or anything like that. Show me one mage in history who you would say, bam, that's a warrior. In all fantasy and sci-fi, you name it. Show me one that is a dedicated warrior. Not that they can't fight. Not that they can't be in war. Not that they can be examples. I want to see it in high fantasy too. I want to see it in Game of Thrones. Show me one. The red woman? The red one? Her? I don't want to say Melisandre. I don't want to confuse the name because a couple of them. But the red woman, was she a dedicated fighter? Was she a Jon Snow? Was she the Mountain? Was she the Hound? Bruh. Another point. The Jedi or an organized religion. They have an organized religion. Now, some may view it as cultic. Here's the thing. When do I mean that? You can say, but wonder, you've brought up the Bene Gesserit. Let me bring up about the Bene Gesserit. You can say, well, don't different mages, utilize the strengths with gods? Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing. Doctor Strange. Um, what god does he worship? Zatanna. Show me one. Dr. Fate is the avatar of the gods. The gods may utilize, but show me one. Merlin. Avalon, sure. He may have dealings with it. Gandalf, sure. Show me which faith, which staple religion. Show me. Now, that don't mean that there can't be an order, but I'll get back to the Bene Gesserit. That doesn't mean they can't have beliefs and views, but show me one that has a dedicated typeset that the Jedi Order. I mean, they were excommunicating folks. Now, the one example you can bring up the Bene Gesserit. The Bene Gesserit had this whole thing about breeding and such. And yes, they did have a working relationship with any one of the imperial situations. But here's the thing, man. For one, that was whoever was in power. And that was bloodlines and stuff. And they had their own views. And if you went against them, sure. And they would teach you a certain way. They would brainwash these girls. But theirs is one of the only examples where you can kind of say this is somewhat like the Jedi Order, but it was a hell of a lot more complex. And I'm not gonna get into all the complexities with the Bene Gesserit and Dune. You would have to read the series to really fully grasp it because they and different Bene Gesserits didn't even agree with one another. So that was another thing as well. You could say that same about the Jedi Order, but it is what it is there. Um, let's see. One of the last things I would bring up is, you know, the dealings in the supernatural. Okay. Um, yes, there are Sith artifacts, there are holocrons that, there are discoveries made. Yes, there are Force ghosts. But can you please, for the life of me, and yes, there are the ones, and I know that certain things exist in Star Wars, but specifically for the Jedi, can you please show me what dealings they had with the supernatural? By and large. Sure, they meditated. Sure, they forced visions and dealing in the force and their spirituality. Sure, they had spirituality. But show me. Doctor Strange, we know. John Constantine, always. Swamp Thing is a avatar of the green. Animal Man is an avatar of the red. Solomon Grundy is an avatar of the black, of the rod. Show me anything in the Jedi Order that even come close to compare with the dealings with actual wizards, with mages, with the supernatural. Show me where the immortality is. They have to do this whole process that they themselves didn't even really figure out. They had to learn it from elsewhere to gain, to even become Jedi. I mean, not Jedi, Force ghosts, Force spirits. The Jedi didn't develop anything. Show me anything in the Jedi Code and the Jedi Order's conduct that deals in the supernatural. I'll wait. Maybe you know something. Maybe there's something in Legends, but I don't see Jack. Unexpected one to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. Sometimes I do videos like this to educate the people, to get the conversation, the ball moving and rolling. Because there's a lot of stuff that's just said out here that is just fundamentally false. And people just come to accept it because of ignorance, because of a lack of understanding. Now, if you disagree with me, we can have this debate. We can talk in the comment section. But Again, show me the evidence where any of this is actually true. If you're just joking and say, fine, I laugh it off with the rest of anyone else. And I'm like, I see what you did there. But if you're legitimately thinking they're actually space wizards, like that's what they're, because some people are convinced that that's what they are. Bro, I just gave you 10 reasons as to why they're not. If you're still holding that, then do your due diligence and actually study magic, man. Actually read up on fantasy and sci-fi, high fantasy, okay? And see what it is. Star Wars, Star Wars is more based in the science, man. It's not full Star Trek version, but it's closer to that than it is to Middle Earth, to Arda. Talking about Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, you know. And that's okay. That's what it was about. But don't just because there's vague similarities thus equate something. That's false equivalencies, ladies and gentlemen. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace. And if you would love me to do any of these type of videos, you see any foolishness floating around online, let me know, and I'll do my best to address those misconstrued statements.